Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large, small block ship. This thing I'm currently standing on is called the Banshee 74 Hydrogen Hauler, which, well, does what it says on the tin. It's designed to carry a bunch of hydrogen from one place to another, be it from your base to a station, or from a station to your base, wherever it may be. And to excuse the gravity generator down here, because it's a small block ship, it can't have a gravity generator, so I just made do by planting it right below the ship, make sure when I walk around it doesn't go too wonky. So move the camera slightly up to here, pressing F10 find it in the spawn menu. The Banshee 74 is 9,690 small blocks. Now that is the correct block count because it is a small block ship. We uses the Heavy Infantry, Wasteland, Sparks of the Future, Automatons, Warfare 1, Degra Block number 2, and Warfare 1 DLC packs. We've got no information whatsoever, so simply give this a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, have a quick tour of the interior, then I suppose because there's no guns on this, we'll simply slam it into an asteroid and blow it up that way. So at the very front for the Banshee 74, this is what we get. So right in the very middle, what we got is a connector to dock this up and to load and unload all of our hydrogen tanks. Above it, we've got an access panel purely there for decoration. There's nothing behind it except a conveyor block. You can't actually connect anything up to it due to the access panel. It's just there for you to fiddle around with when you're bored. To the right of that, we've got ourselves a bunch of rounded steel blocks, some more decoration. Then we've got some lovely black and orange steel blocks to make up the main body of the ship. If we were to move around onto the side, this is all we can see here. So we've got a little strip of our hazard skin, we can see even more of our orange and black steel blocks. We've got a little bit of grey blocks just to break it all up in the middle. And then we do have some beam blocks come all the way across to a couple small hydrogen thrusters help us on our left and right. As we have to move along, we'll see even more of this pattern. Just continue along over to this section, which is where our bridge is sitting to control this thing around. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Turning around over to here, we've got ourselves a large hydrogen thruster with 3 small ones, helps slow us down. Then over to here, we can see a window to peer inside. We'll see a better look at that a bit later on. We can also see one of a few magnetic plates clamp ourselves onto a surface. Then moving around over to this section, we've got some fantastic use of our fan air vents just to suck in oxygen from the surrounding areas. Right above there, a couple of ion thrusters help us out while in space. Then around towards the very back of this thing, this is what's going to push us around, and that's 4 large ion thrusters with a couple small hydrogen just to give it a nice bit of speed. Now over here and at the top, we've got a doorway to get inside, which will allow us to quickly get into our main cockpit, to drive this thing around and to control everything about the ship. Right below here, we've got a button panel which will allow you to enter your hangar bay, where you can store a very small vehicle inside. So pan the camera all the way through, and there we go, that's the space we get to store our vehicle inside, but we could also double this as a cargo hold, put a few containers here and there, store them up with all the stuff we need on our adventure, and well, that's about it. Yes, we do have some lighting, so make sure it's nice and bright inside here. There's a button to open it from the inside. We'll come back to that a bit later on. If we were to move up just a little bit, right next to our doorway, we do have some safety rails to make sure you don't wander off, and well, go near our thrusters. Round onto the side of this top section, there's some more hydrogen thrusters down there. There's some ion thrusters on each side. There's a window to peer inside at a small little junction where we can see our ladder to go down further into the ship, or we can take the doorway to take us to our bridge, which is this section right here. So simply a rover seat with a few LCD screens in front of it. We'll get a better look at that a bit later on. Anyway, looking down at this thing, there we go, that's how our thruster's been set up. And as we were to move along the main body, there we go, not too much else to talk about. That's where I'm standing next to some hazard skin. And at the very front there, we've got ourselves a rotating light, and that's about it. Moving all the way down underneath it, past that connector, putting my light on, there's some more magnetic plates. There's the gravity generator, which is in the way of our hydrogen thrusters. This is a small, very odd little thing, not too sure what it is, but it's a bunch of exhaust blocks on a hinge, just angled slightly. And I suppose it's just there for decoration, but not too sure what you'd use for that otherwise. Yes, moving slightly along, there's some more magnetic plates, there's some more hydrogen thrusters, and some more great use of our hazard skin. And there we go. That's that for the outside of the Banshee 74. And it's bloody fantastic how it's all been set up. Considering this is a small block ship, it's still very impressive, and caught me off guard when I actually spawned this in, because I was expecting a very large ship, and it was very surprising to actually see what this thing actually was. So grabbing hold of my character, what we're going to do is now just fly around towards the very back of this thing, and we're going to head in through the top door and work our way down. So opening up this, we've got a double door for an airlock, and I have added on one of the many free programmable blocks on this, the auto door and airlock script, make sure the doors can close right behind me. But here we go, this is the main interior, we've got some lights in the floor, doorway in front of us to take us to our main cockpit, so opening this up, there we go, that's all inside here. Then we can now drop down this ladder, that'll take us further into the ship. So now just down to here, there we go. It's a little bit awkward to get through, but this is the area we're then greeted with. Looking around to here, that is our hangar bay to actually store our little vehicle inside. We've got some buttons here not set up, but you could set these up to control the door if you wanted to, have one open, one close. That's entirely up to you. Turn around and facing this section, we've got some steps to go down. Another doorway that's going to take us to our living quarters, but for the moment, what we're going to do is now head all the way down here. So yes, turning around, opening up this doorway, double door once again, you can see inside there a bunch of gyroscopes, then opening up this, here is our hangar, and here is it compared to the engineer. So it's exceptionally tiny, where you're going to get a very, very small ship inside here. Yes, we can press that button to open it up. And then we can go and close it up once again. So yes, you will have to account for that when actually storing a vehicle inside, because that's going to take up quite a bit of space when it opens all the way up. But anyway, facing towards the back, we've got an LCD screen with a pink fist. Then we've got a window block that we just saw out, where it has the two buttons with nothing set up right next to it. There they are. Opening up this doorway, coming back through here, all the way through into this section. This is a small engineering bay, where we've got two reactors, and then a bunch of stuff for some decoration to make it feel more engineering. So if we're faced towards the front there, we've got a weapon controller block. We've got some program blocks, nothing set up. We've got a conveyor with an access cap on top. We've got two green lights. We can see our O2HU generator. There's one of our fan air vents. Then we've got some nice use of our columns, breaking up the bottom of this section. Onto the side, a bunch of small hydrogen tanks. Looking all the way up, not too much to talk about. So we can now walk back through here, come up these steps, and then head towards the back of the ship. So standing up once again, opening up this doorway. This is our living quarters. By opening up this door, we then got a fake little bed. We then got our little engineer plushie, so we can come all the way up to there. And just look around the room, a little light, and that's about it for this room. If we were to come across to this one, exact same setup, just reflected. What we got instead of our engineering plushie is the spider to keep you company. Anyway, turning out of this, opening up this doorway, we then got a lovely sign that says storage area this way. So opening up this doorway all the way through, standing up once again. And then got some more hydrogen tanks, some air vents on top. Over here, some more great use of our columns, just going all the way across the room. A bunch of conveyors from the top and the bottom. Then at the very end of this room, we've got ourselves a custom weapon controller and two programmable blocks with once again nothing set up on them. Opening up this doorway, and at the very front of the ship, I keep calling it the back of the ship, is a interior cockpit to drive this thing around. As you can see up there, that is where I put the auto door and LOT script. As for the rest of the room, we can see some cargo containers. There's our survival kit. On the opposite side, a bunch of access panels to play around with. I'm just going to close that up for the moment. So that one, and that one. Now we can just get into this. We've got no controls, but we can just fly this thing around. Very useful stuff, in case the top one gets blown out. But as for that, now we've got to walk all the way back through here. Open up this doorway, back through here. Now we've got to come up this ladder. Now, because of the way this has been set up, you can't really jetpack all the way up. It's a little bit awkward because the engineer seems to get stuck. So you will need to grab hold of the ladder and actually just climb up normally. There we go. We now open up this, hop into the seat, first person view. This is what we can see all the way around us. It's got a fantastic view of what's going on. And then we can see another program block in the middle there. Looking down, not too much. Bringing up the HUD, these are the only controls we get. Where number 8 is going to be the rotating light at the front there to turn it on and off. Number 9 is for our hangar bay at the very back there to open and close it. So there we go, now open that up. And then we can go and close it. And that is the controls for the Banshee. So now what we can do is just drive this thing around, see how it handles, then we'll make our way over to that asteroid up there and see how well it crashes. So moving forwards, this is what we get. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it doesn't have to be because it's not a combat ship. It is a transport ship, you just need to get there in one piece. Coming to a stop is about the same, in fact it feels slightly faster, so that's always good, but because of the rate of speed it's going down, you will need to plan ahead for charging along towards the station, just in case you do slam into it. So let that come to a stop and then start moving left. And right, some nice speed with that, but it's still quite slow at the end of the day. Moving down, and then moving up. Moving up feels faster than everything else, but that's to be expected from a ship that can go on a planet. Then as for gyroscope controls, moving this thing around, is very heavy, it's got a bit of weight on there, but it's not too bad at the end of the day. It still retains quite a bit of control compared to other large ships of a similar size, and you could get a lot of use out of this, especially when you're trying to maneuver through a tight area. Now what we're going to do is charge along towards this asteroid, slam straight into it, and I think that'll be that for this video. And here we go, we're now approaching the asteroid at maximum speed. Any second now we're going to slam straight into it, and that is quite a surprising result. I was expecting it to crumple into itself and just absolutely annihilate itself because it does have hydrogen tanks on there and they are notorious for exploding and taking everything with it. But if I was to reverse this thing up, if I can, if it wants to, it seems to be very, very stuck on there. How odd. For some odd reason, it's now completely stuck in the asteroid and I can no longer move it. It's just magnetized to it, which is quite an odd result. But yes, that's pretty much it for the Banshee 7.4 Hydrogen Hauler. It's a lovely small block ship to use in world, especially if you want to have something of this function to say top up one of your hydrogen hungry ships by just transporting hydrogen from your base and over to it. So there'll be a link to it in the description below if you wish to download and play around it yourself, as well as a link to the Skybox I'm currently using. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.